Hi there. So today we're going to go through the pot selection process and just some of the things that I'll consider when selecting the right pot for the tree. So there's no necessarily right or wrong answer when picking a pot for your tree. It's your tree, it's what you want your tree to look good in. However, from an aesthetics point of view, there are going to be a couple of rules which, if you stick to, it will just help bring out the tree and make it look visually interesting. So the first thing that I always do when I'm picking a pot is I will measure both the height of the tree, so from the top of the pot, and the width of the trunk at the base, or the nabari, which is the root flare. So this tree is approximately 22 centimeters tall, maybe 21 and a bit. So let's call it 22 centimeters tall. So the rule, first of all, for the width of the pot that I'm going to pick is it needs to be roughly 2/3 the height of the tree. So this will help make it look balanced with the tree. So 2/3 of 22 is 14.6. So let's call it 15. So I'm going to be looking for roughly a 15 centimeter pot to offset this tree. The next rule is for the depth of the pot, you look at how wide the tree is at the root base. So this is about 4 centimeters. So again, I'm going to be looking for a pot which is about 4 centimeters deep. So what we'll do is I'll spin around and we'll have a look at some of the pots I've got in the selection and we'll see which ones suit this tree best. So these just a selection of a few of my pots. So I've got quite a few on the shelf above it and below it. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick up some of these and just use them as an example to see whether or not they suit the tree or not. So the pot I've actually got in mind for this tree, because the tree was a gift, I've got a special pot in mind for anybody. But what we'll do is we'll go through some of these pots I've got here on the shelf and weigh up the pros and cons of each of the pot as we go. And then we'll pick one which will be the special one I've said, and we'll use it to repot the elm in. So there are a few different types of pot design and shape generally you can get. You can get oval pots, you can get square pots, and then you can get round pots. So generally speaking, the very heavy square pot with a very firm corner on it, these will be for much more masculine trees. So the idea of masculine and feminine simply means around how heavy the tree looks, how strong the tree looks. So this tree, we would say it's a little bit masculine. It's quite an upright, but it does have some gentle characteristics. So it does have a nice gentle curve to it. It does have a nice flow to it, but there is some quite heavy roots at the base. And again, it is quite a vigorous tree, so it's quite a strong looking tree at the same time as well. So I might be looking for something that's perhaps a little bit rounded, but does have that kind of sense of strength that the tree will have as well. So one thing to bear in mind as well is this Chinese elm will, when it goes into leaf, will look green. It'll have bright green leaves, and then as the autumn comes, the leaves will start to go an orange colour. So I'll be looking for a pot which offsets the green colour. It will look nice with the green leaves, and it will also be looking nice potentially during autumn and during winter if I want to show this tree to show off all the fine branches during winter. So the first pot we've got for the selection is this square pot here, and the idea that you would do is you'd hold the pot in front of the tree just to get an idea of how that will look with the tree. So this pot, so let's measure it out. This pot is approximately 14 centimeters wide, so the width is roughly right for the tree, and it's 3 centimeters deep, so it's a little bit shallow for the tree. And I think potentially from a horticultural point of view, this tree is going to have to survive in quite a shallow pot. So the actual room for the roots is only 2 centimeters. So I think this one, from a length point of view, I think that would be quite a nice tree pot for this tree. It's got quite a nice glaze that I think would offset the greens very nicely. So a green and a sort of brown will work well together. However, I think from how shallow it is, I think perhaps this isn't quite the best pot for this tree. And I think perhaps something just a little bit wider because it looks a little bit tall for this pot. So we'll put that one to one side. The next pot we've got this light blue, pale, greyish glaze pot. It's a bit of a rougher looking pot, so that in some ways might look nice. However, the tree is a little bit of a formal, refined feeling tree, and perhaps something that feels this rough maybe isn't quite right for the tree. So looking at this looks like quite a large pot as well. So it looks like the tree's getting a little bit lost in that. So if we measure this, the size of this up, this is actually an 18 centimetre pot. So that's a little bit too large. So you'd expect perhaps more towards a 30 centimetre tree pot. So as you can see, it's starting to get a little bit lost in that pot, and it's just that little bit too long for it. From a depth point of view, it's 4 centimetres, which is the same as the width of our trunk. And from a horticultural point of view, it does have a good bit of space in there, but I think overall it's a little bit too large. I think the colour would probably suit it quite nicely. Some greens and blues work well together, so like sky and trees. However, based on the size of that, I don't think this is the right pot for that tree. The next one we've got is a very rugged looking round pot. This looks quite interesting, so it's quite a primitive looking pot. However, this does not suit the tree, so the tree's a gentle upright style, and then you suddenly got this very rugged looking pot. So that might suit something which is a little bit more gnarly, a little bit more contorted, perhaps like this small juniper I've got over here, something with a little bit more interest. So I think you've got two differing styles there, so I think we'll dismiss that one for that tree. The next one we've got this light blue glazed pot. So the size looks a little bit better than the last oval that I had, and as you can see, it looks like it suits the size of the tree fairly well. So what we'll do is measure it up, and this is a 15 centimetre pot. So this would be the right sort of size from a width point of view, and from a depth it's 4 centimetres as well. So this looks like this could be a good pot for the tree. The blues and the gentleness of the glaze offsets how well the tree looks like a little bit of a formal tree. So I think this is a potential pot for that tree. Finally, we've got a round pot. So it's a similar rule for the round pot. You'll be looking at a similar sort of width, and this looks like it could be a potential, but it's a little bit of a narrow tree. So it's only a 10 centimetre pot. So perhaps that's a little bit narrow, and there's not going to be a lot of room for the roots in that. And again, I don't think it would suit that tree. So as you can see, it just looks a little bit small for that tree. The tree looks a bit top heavy if we use that. So looks like the pot we're going to go with is this pot. So the first thing we'll do is we'll pick what the best front is. So there's some interesting glaze marks on this side, and this might detract from the image of the tree. So you just want it to sit and look as part of the image and part of the design. So I think this will be the likely front. And what we'll do is we'll now progress through the repotting of this tree. So there we have the finished piece, lovely Chinese elm potted in a pot. So as I said, this both were a gift, and that's why I've chosen this, but I think equally the blue, the size of the pot, I think this will do a nice combination for the tree. I hope you enjoyed this. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Let me know if there's any videos that you would like me to do, and equally let me know if you think any different pots would look good for this tree. I'm always open to hearing what other people think. Thanks for watching.